Your Excellency, the Nigerian High Commissioner here in the UK, Senator Dr. Dalhatu Tafiya, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure to launch Godson Azu's book, Campaign Strategies for Political Success. Having been privileged to read this book, I know what Godson is trying to do. I believe Godson is having the same mind with the Nigerian president, trying to create new nations, especially among the third world countries. We have seen so many elections not based on campaign strategies, but some kind of godfatherism. With the national conference going on in Nigeria about to be inaugurated on the 17th of March, we believe that a new Nigeria will be born, where those who contest elections will have some strategies, will present themselves, will think of the voters and how they will be made responsible and responsive to these voters. Going through this book, which is clothed in green, white, green, and I believe that Godson is a true reflection of Nigerianism, I've seen that Godson has taken us into the state of nature. Thomas Hobbes was the first person who talked about the state of nature, and he said that man was living before government was made as in a situation of solitude, brutality, poverty, because every man was working for himself. There was no government. And Godson is saying, for a government to be formed, we need to look at the state of nature. Do we still have people living in the state of nature, where people just don't have government over them, where there are no contracts between the people and the government? And we see in a situation, especially in the northeastern part of Nigeria, where people still live in the state of nature. Anyone can kill anyone and get away with it. So Thomas Hobbes has given us a good situation where the people now deliver their sovereignty and say, let a government look after us. But a government that is not responsive to the people, a government that cannot be retracted and be told what to do by those who have elected them, is no longer representing the people. Now, we see a situation, the Hobbesian state of nature, which we have been told has led to the institution of Levitianism, that is where a dictator rules, then will be a challenging situation. We have seen different governments in different kinds of capacity, and we have seen the kind of things that they have done because they are not responsive to those who have elected them. Godson is saying in this book that the new candidates to go for election must have plans, they must have manifesto, and they must be responsive to those who have elected them. This is a book to be read by those who want to contest election. This is a book to be read by those who want to vote. When the British government left the Nigerian society in 1960, majority of the people were not politically mobilized. They were told they're going to have independence. But in terms of political education, what it means to make use of a vote, what it means to vote and to get the votes do what they ought to do. A vote is like a currency, and this currency is to purchase well-being of the people. The currency of the vote is to get things happen in the community. Unfortunately, many of the third world countries' votes cannot be said to be a currency, and therefore they've not been able to get the politicians or those who have been voted for to be responsible for the well-being of the people. Godson Azu, if you go through this book, it's just 170 pages. Godson Azu is saying it's time to change. We need a change to happen. It's no longer the time of godfatherism to put you in place like a distinguished senator, the Nigerian High Commissioner, was saying. He's trying to say that this is a time for campaign strategies for everyone to understand. We're told that we have about 160 million people in Nigeria. And how many of the 160 million people understand what it is to vote? What the essence of their vote? How many of them understand recalling their senators, recalling their House of Representatives? Because they are not responsive. Godson Azu is saying these things are possible if the voter knows what he's talking about, if the voter knows the power that has been given to him. But we've not seen ourselves. Let me quickly summarize, because I'm going to invite my colleague, Dr. Idowood, who will do justice to the chapters. In forming a government, we've been told that it's a contract between the voters and those to be voted for. And so people like John Locke, John Jack Rousseau, they told us it's a social contract between the government and the people. Contracts that I will look after you, you will submit your freedom, you will submit your power, and therefore we will take care of those things that will be your welfare or your well-being. But we've not seen people, governments entering into social contract. We just see them getting there and leaving the rest of the people. Godson Azu is saying it's time for social contract to be followed in developing countries. Some have argued that in the Western countries, it's no longer a social contract between the government and the people. It's a social contract between the government and the people yet to be born. And so we hear Western politicians say, what will our children say in 50 years' time? What have we done in 50 years' time? For those of us who live in countries where electric power is epileptic, our children will ask us, what did you do with 54 years? Not getting electricity. If we get to know this book and get the things Godson Azu has researched, has told us in pre-election period, during election period, post-election period, what Godson Azu has summarized in these 170 pages, I am sure Nigeria and other third world countries will not remain the same. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. That was Dr. Shepard Johnson. A round of applause for Dr. Shepard. In the second person, as he alluded to in his statement there, I'm going to invite to the podium Dr. Tunde Yowu. I understand also Dr. Tunde Yowu would do the book justice. Why? Because he has a doctorate in international relations. Now, political and international relations matter in this particular book that we're launching. So I'm going to invite Dr. Tunde Yowu to review, as a second review.
Follow the ancient sophists who view rhetoric as a means of deceit instead of discovering the truth. Nor should it be seen as the practice being it, a form of flattery, a function similar to cookery, which makes undesirable or unhealthy food by making it taste. Rather, a campaign message should speak to the voters about what the politicians intend to do when they get into office. It needs to be clear, it needs to be short, but then the message needs to be clear. And then chapter 6 gives a detailed analysis of how to make it happen. It set out the responsibility of the key players in the campaign process, the candidates, the managers, and a host of other players in the same. In other words, focusing on three keys: the plan, the preparations, and the people. The other chapters, conscious of the time, chapter 9 and co, is talking about the importance of campaigning. Now I have an issue here with Godson in the sense that he's advising us that there should be, politicians should be in campaign mode, but there's a trick missing here. Nothing is said about governance, performance, and delivery when in office. For an incumbent, the best campaign message is the record of achievement or lack of it. While the chapter advises politicians on coalition building, using persisting coalition to build the grassroots campaign, I think subsequent editions need to focus on delivery. In today's world, creating a winning campaign is a priority for all aspiring politicians, and many will find chapter 11 very useful. A few pictures are better than millions of words. In addition, the importance of social media cannot be overemphasized. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And some of us will even recall that President Obama secured his second term by playing the Facebook game. In Nigeria, in the last presidential election, candidate Goodluck Jonathan used Facebook to its maximum advantage to reach the younger generation. Now coming back to the final chapter of the book, it's about the debate, and that is very important. Many elections have been won on what the voters see on TV. I mean, to my own recollection, I wasn't born at that point in time. I remember, or I read it in book, that 1960 elections between presidential debate between Richard Nixon and youthful John Kennedy, those people who watched it on telly sort of put their votes for Kennedy, and those that listened to it on radio, put their vote for Richard Nixon. In other words, they form of the message is important. And finally, should I recommend this book or should I not? Now, personal friendship aside, I think following the trajectory of my lecturer, what Godson is trying to do is to fashioning a new Nigeria, and we should be in part of this project. This will give a good practical advice on what and how to plan, organize, and implement a winning political campaign. It should be every politician's manual, every political science student handbook, and a good read for campaign manager. And I will be very pleased if Mr. Goya will have a one of it because he's trying to become a...
First of all, the author of the book is a friend to this High Commission. He has worked very hard on the book. In reality, my personal take on the book is that it's a little bit theoretical. It is applicable to the so-called developed countries. For Nigeria, it's good if we can change to pursue the strategies, what he said in the book. But in reality, what he said is very much relevant to a country such as UK, United Kingdom and others. For Nigeria, we are getting there. We will soon get there. And we hope to get there. And we must get there in order that we have a government that will be held accountable, a government that, not just the government, the person elected to any office will also be held accountable to any office, whether president, governor, also. So it is a good book. Yeah. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, in Nigeria we do have 6 geopolitical zones. And my humble way of doing this, respectfully, humbly, I will be taking 6 books, having launched it, 1 for each geopolitical zone in Nigeria. I will equally take another book. A friend of mine who said he wouldn't be here, QC Oba Nsube, you all know him. So he's not a politician, he has no inclination to enter politics. Boy, he reads, runs a company. In support. But I make this clear, I only knew about this launch and my position as the chief launcher by an email last night. I hold no grudges against him. He just came back from Nigeria, but I had to be here. I am just supporting the sleepless night of Azo. All the bills he paid for the printers with a token sum of £500.
But I'm also going to be able to contribute £500 to the market of the book.
Thank you very much, sir.
This house, which is called Nigeria House, we'll have to buy something. We'll buy 2 or 3 copies for our library to allow for somebody coming to take a copy and disappear. We'll also buy a copy for all our leaders. When we say leaders here, we mean an officer who is above level 15.
And I will be taking one of these books to him. I will be taking one for myself as well. And I will be taking, the sympathy has already, Chief Lawyer has already mentioned that he will be taking home 6 books for 6 geopolitical zones. 3 major tribes we have in Nigeria.
You see our friend has come all the way from, I don't even know where, I don't even want to say. The High Commissioner worked yesterday and he happens to be in the office again today. As we've got a lot to answer for. As is my friend, as is my colleague, Azu is a mentor. Azu is everything. Azu is very humane. He's a very nice guy, down to earth. Just, I don't even know how to describe him. Azu is a social, political commentator. He does everything. He's got a radio program. He's everywhere. In fact, talking about Facebook, there was a day I was just going through Facebook. I was supposed to send a picture he took in Paris for the needle, whatever. Then next thing I saw a picture in the same day. I'm like, Azu, are you really present? He started laughing. He's everywhere. He gives his time to everything. He's one of those Nigerians who actually want Nigeria to move ahead. It's not about writing the book. He actually believes in what he's written. It's one thing to say it, talk the talk. It's another thing to actually implement it, as well as giving himself unreservedly. And he's a married man, don't forget. His wife is actually here in our midst. So let's recognize her. The support has been immense from her. That's how we're doing. And they usually say it's behind every successful man, there is a woman nudging him there. Come on, you have to go and do something today. So this is a lady who is so supportive. I tell her, so you go everywhere, doesn't your wife know? He says, to be honest with you, she does, but she knows that I can't not serve my country. So thank you very much for leaving him to serve us. Thank you. Not to waste much of our time, I'm going to invite Azu at this point. I'm so overwhelmed, I'm speechless, I don't even know what to say. Azu, welcome your presence. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Lots of words. It's been a long journey, but thank God for today. I would like to appreciate everybody that has come here today, especially my daddy and our great mentor, the head of our community here in the UK and especially in Europe, because the UK High Commission is the foundation stone of every mission work of Nigeria globally. And whoever here stands here is the head of the mission, even across Europe. So I'd like to appreciate Daddy, my mentor, a great leader, Senator Dr. Dahatu Seiki Tafida, a long-time majority leader of the Nigerian Senate, and a medical doctor by profession. You may be hearing doctor, I think he's PhD now, he's a professional doctor. For those of you who don't know that. And he was the special personal physician to the Second Republic President of Nigeria, Alhaji Shehu Shagari. For those of you who are not aware of that, he started his career from there, basically. I'd like to appreciate my very big brother, another great mentor, somebody that we have ups and downs, but he's a political guru himself. He's the outgoing chairman of PTP UK chapter, a leading member of the PTP here in the UK and in Nigeria. I appreciate your presence. I want to appreciate Mr. Frank Gall, the leader of the All People's Party, the business mogul, one of the leading hedge fund managers in Europe, in America, like you said earlier on. I appreciate your presence. I'd like to thank my kid, do I call it academia? My great academia. We met at one of, I belong to the Institute of Corporate Policy. I'm a member of this institute, and we had this symposium on I went there, I met him, and I said to him, Prof, I'm launching my book. He said, what is the book? I said to him, he said, well, you need to come up on the alumni profile with your book. We're going to publish it for you there. Everybody's going to know about this book from the school. And I will appreciate to be at your launch. And I was so glad that he took the offer and he's here in person. Also supported here by his wife, who is on the speaker here. I do appreciate your presence. I want to appreciate also my very own father-in-law. I call him father-in-law because he's the head of the family we are married to. I'm an Igbo person, but I'm married to a Yoruba woman. My wife. So I am not a tribalistic person. As long as I can marry anywhere, I can marry anywhere. That's of my father-in-law, in person of Mr. Adekombi Phillips family, who has flown all the way from Chicago to honor this occasion for me and with the family. He's here with his very good friend, who is seated somewhere in the crowd there. They both flew in from the US for this purpose. I want to also appreciate our elder, overall leader of the elder council here in the United Kingdom, Mr. Oladumeji. We appreciate the comment. Thank you very much. And finally, I want to thank you because this book has been made possible by no other person but one of my closest mentor and somebody who took me in and said, you can find something out of you because I can see something great in you. Let me up of any other job, and I said to myself, I'm going to pursue my career, whatever it may take me, I will get there and I will succeed. So I left my job. I worked for over 8 years, and then I met this young man and I said, look, I want to go into this area, and if the opportunity can be offered. And he took me in as a friend, as a colleague, as a mentee, and since then I'm filing, sharpening. Sometimes it's like it's not working, sometimes it's like, well, it's going to come out today, and then we'll keep going on there. And I'm proud of him, and I believe so much in what he has put forward. And we all are working together to ensure that as much as we can, we help one another to attain our possible goals and objectives and future career in life. Please help me to thank Dr. Alice Shea, who is the sponsor of this book. He saw the skeleton of this book. He thought I was joking. But by the time he saw the full flesh of it, he said, well, I'm in it with you. And this is just first of my first book. I've got 2 other books that are hopefully going to be ready by July. And we're looking forward to launch them fully in Nigeria. I want to thank every one of you here. I want to thank my friends and family. Not to forget, my mother-in-law is here, mother of my wife. She's been a very supportive person. Sitting down at the back there. Please, mommy, let us see you now. Let us see you now. That's the mom, mother of my wife. This is Abby. And I've got 2 of my co-in-laws here too. Mr. Ife, Dr. Ife Anatoya is married to one of my wife's sisters. Dr. Ife Anatoya, please let me recognize you. It's a PhD holder too. I've got too many PhDs around me. Maybe I'll get there. Also, here is my very co-brother-in-law, Mr. Wale Gibson White. He's with the King's College here in London. He's married to my wife, immediate sister. Please, Mr. Wale, he's been the MC. I want to thank a few other people. I don't have too many speeches, but just to say thank you for some people who have been here. I want to thank Alhaji Ali Lubero, a very great person. I appreciate what he has done also in my life. These people inspired me writing all this book. Alhaji Ali Lubero is the outgoing bureau chairman of PT2 UK chapter. Alhaji Ali Lubero. I want to thank I know that some of them are running late, they'll be here. I want to thank the General Secretary of my secondary school, alma mater. We have about 100 of us living here in the UK, and we have our meetings every month, going around each person's house. So I travel a lot in the UK, not just for community work, but for my school work. Here at the moment, the chairman told me he's going to be here. I hope he'll be here soon. Is the Secretary General of my alma mater, Methodist Boys High School, Lagos. He's a senior manager with TFL. He's a senior manager with TFL. He's the general secretary of my school, alma mater here in the UK. There are so many people I have to thank, but I'll keep thanking them. I want to thank Councillor Kate Analo, wonderful woman, great politician here in the UK. Please help me to thank.
You help people to correct some of the presumed ills of politics.
CEO of Observer in the front of the page. Around. Okay.
What we want to do is select the 25 that will represent.
It's about the impact of money politics in Nigeria has motivated me to write this book in order to inspire and motivate the next generation Nigerian politicians, both at home and abroad, to begin to see the benefit of the modern technology in form of readdressing the issue of campaign process in Nigeria.
Godson. Godson is there. Thank you very much. What we're trying to do is to try to link these young ones with the coding gets back home.
Written by the General Secretary of the Nigerians in Diaspora UK, Godson Azu, the 170-page Green-White-Green book seeks to change the orientation and mindsets of the electorates and those elected to govern. The 11-chapter book dwelt on setting campaign goals, targeting the voters, developing the campaign message and contact voter lists, campaign organizational structure, seeking re-election and building political coalitions, as well as creating a winning political image, which the book reviewers Dr. Shegun Johnson, Dr. Tunde Idowu, and other speakers describe as a must-have. The Nigerian High Commissioner to the UK was the chief host.
Personal take on the book is that it's a little bit theoretical. It is applicable to the so-called developed countries.
NTA News sought to know the inspiration of the author and motivation of the chief launcher.
It's about the impact of money politics in Nigeria has motivated me to write this book in order to inspire and motivate the next generation Nigerian politicians, both at home and abroad.
You help people to correct some of the presumed ills of politics.
High point of the book launch was cutting of the cake that depicted the art of winning election in the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria. From London, Hawa Yusuf Funtua, NTA News.